Deputy Pat Rabbitte.
Laskin Collier, I want to share my time with a raft of
Deputy
angry
Sherlock,
colleagues.
Lynch, Upton, Costello and Lynch, I understand.
You're very kind, Laskin Collier. Did you include Deputy Upton there?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, thank you. Laskin Collier, yesterday I think was a bad day for Parliament. It goes without saying that the worst financial crisis this country has ever experienced requires an inquiry. That was the opening sentence of yesterday's speech by the Minister for Finance, Brian Lenihan. I agree with him. But of course, what he should have said is that the worst financial crisis in this country's history requires a public inquiry. But this inquiry is not public. Parliament is sidelined, and the critical events of the months of September and October 2008 are excluded. We have a private inquiry that is designed to shelter the key players in our economic downfall from public scrutiny. And with evangelical zeal, the Green Party continues to see white blackbirds. So much for their demand for, and I quote them, an open public inquiry with meaningful Oireachtas involvement, unquote. If the worst financial crisis in our history is not the business of Parliament, then what is? The Irish people who are paying the piper want accountability. They expect to see those responsible for the banking crash made amenable. They want to judge for themselves why and how did it happen. But the government has relegated the process behind closed doors. And when the report is finished, hopefully sometime in 2011, but it may well be later, Dáil Éireann will be invited in a routine way to discuss the findings after the event. I must say, and I'm sorry Deputy Fleming has left the House, that I have some reservations about the wisdom of imposing on the new governor the obligation to investigate his own staff. Nor is it clear that Dr. Honohan can discharge such a function without breaching Section 33AK of the Act. The fact is that the Dáil is being diminished in relevance, while the executive and judicial arms are developing. The Labour Party is convinced that the parliamentary model of inquiry can be a focused, cost-effective, expeditious and fair means of dealing with issues of important public interest, with legislative proposals, public accountability of the executive and its agencies, and value for money in respect of public monies, whether voted by the Dáil or raised from other sources. Our conclusion is that an effective parliamentary power of inquiry is essential to the relevance of Parliament to public life in a modern-day representative democracy. The parliamentary inquiry, properly organised and conducted, is a natural extension of parliamentary oversight. The Labour bill would have enabled such an inquiry, which would in turn have enhanced Parliament and satisfied the demands of most people who are being burdened with higher taxes and pay cuts in order to rescue the banks from their own reckless behaviour. Our main argument for the strengthening of the Dáil is that it enhances public accountability. A vigorously active and independent Parliament with the powers to investigate matters of serious public importance will ensure that the systemic abuses and the breakdown of good government highlighted by the Dirt inquiry, by the various tribunals and other inquiries are less likely to recur. In conclusion, sir, this secret inquiry is an old-style Fianna Fáil stroke. Fianna Fáil knows well what it's doing, but the Greens, on the other hand, are like the people at Knock who damaged their eyesight while staring into the sun. Being in government has dazzled the Greens so badly that they don't recognise that the only thing public about this inquiry is their public humiliation by Fianna Fáil. And it's amusing listening to the Fianna Fáil contributions. If you were an outsider, you'd think this motion was theirs. And my friend and neighbour, Deputy Charlie O'Connor, like a lot of his colleagues, is upset about partisan politics. It's absolutely extraordinary that there should be politics of any kind in this chamber. Instead, we should all row in behind and sail into the sunset with the Greens, who are now indistinguishable. I think it's a disgrace and an opportunity missed, Alas Cancorlia, that this inquiry is being conducted in secret, behind closed doors, and to shelter the key figures responsible from public scrutiny.